Good afternoon, you handsome lot, and welcome back to the channel. We have got today a 2012 Volkswagen Transporter T5, which is very poorly. Now, this vehicle has been recovered to us with a timing belt failure. Now, before we go saying that this engine's no good, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to put a brand new timing belt on this engine and just see if they've got away with it. We've got to give it a little bit of a try. Now, before we go getting involved, I just want to show you the condition of this belt. There is hardly any teeth left on it, so the chances are that it's bent a valve. But we're going to go ahead now. We're going to get this get this car jacked up, support the engine, and take this engine mount off. Right, well, as you can see now, we've got this driver's side front wheel off, axle stand at the back. We just need to go ahead now and get this crank pulley off. As you can see, I have taken the engine mount off. So simple, there's so much space on these, it's very easy, to be honest. As soon as we get that crank pulley off, we can remove this plastic timing cover. I've gone ahead and removed that crank pulley. There is not a single tooth left on that belt. You can see it has had a timing belt at some point in its life, but as I remove that pulley, I can see some water droplets. So is it a possibility that the water pump has failed? We'll have a little look. With all them covers now removed, should we get all that old belt out? We're going to get ourselves a little bit of an airline and give everything a little bit of a blowout. Right, with everything now out of the way, at this point normally I would turn around and say, let's go ahead and get this engine timed up. But I think that's out of the question, isn't it? I've already undone the 15 on the tension, I backed it off. We can just pull that belt off now. We're going to have a little inspection. See how many teeth are left on it? There isn't a single tooth left on it. Oh my god. Surely this engine's not going to run. We don't know, but we're going to have a look. We've got to think positive. We have to keep positive all the time. I've gone ahead and I have removed now all the pulleys. And the water pump has seized solid. That's why this belt's failed. I'm going to go ahead now and get this water pump out and see what happens. Now, while I'm waiting for that coolant to drain into my lovely little receptacle, because we all know by now I do not like mess on the floor, I'm going to go ahead and put the crank in the correct position. Also the camshaft in the correct position and the fuel pump. We're going to turn it over by hand. Now I'm going to know by feel if we've got any compression or there's something catching or something that feels a little bit out of the ordinary with it. And if I'm happy, we can get on the key and give it a big start and see what happens. And just with a little bit of magic, that water pump is now off, and if we have a little look, you can see how it's collapsed and pulled it to one side. Right, there we go, all bits now are off. That is a fuel pump pulley, which is going to be going back on. We've got a brand new water pump and all the bits, even a brand new mounting kit as well. You should all know by now that my preferred timing belt kit is Shaftwell INA. Right, shall we go ahead and get this water pump on? Right, well, we're getting somewhere now. All the pulleys on, tensioners, idlers, new water pump, everything's torque to spec. Now, these pulleys on the camshaft, make sure that the bolts and the fuel pump, that they're all slack, and make sure they're fully clockwise, because when you put the belt on, put the tension on, then pulleys will just turn ever so slightly to get the correct tension on it. I'm going to go ahead now and get the brand new belt on. Now I have put everything is torque to spec and as it should be. Right, well, I've now gone ahead and put all the timing belt back together and timed up as it should be. Everything's gone into place fairly nicely, but we're going to see now, if I just put my camera there, let's put my camera there now. We're going to jump on the crank. 19mm multi-spline, and we're going to give this engine a turn round to see what happens. Now let me get my ratchet on it. Now when I'm turning it over, what I'm feeling for is anything locking up, and also compression stroke, which we've got a little bit of compression there. Spin it round until on the marks, lining up. There's nothing. Let's go round again. You know, it feels like it's got compression. All my timing marks lined up, and all my timing marks have lined up properly. Fairly confident enough to say we can get on the key and see what happens. I just need to put some intake pipes on so it's measuring the air that's going into the engine and see what happens. Everything now on that vehicle is put back together just enough so I can start it. I haven't got any timing covers on, no alternator pulley, no pulley belt or anything. I'm going to jump on the key now and see what happens. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. But I have got a little bit of a gut feeling where I think this head's going to need taking off. Right, now I've spun the engine over by hand and we're going to get on the key, see if it starts. If it starts, I think it's going to have a little bit of a misfire. Battery's flat. Take two. Now the battery pack is on, let's see if it starts. No, it ain't starting, unfortunately. Right, well, unfortunately, that van now needs a lot of engine work doing, so we're going to need to pull the cylinder head off. Now, when I was winding it over, we have got some exhaust inlet valves that have definitely bent, because as I was winding it over, I could hear it pop, 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 popping back through the inner manifold. So, as far as this video now goes, I cannot carry on doing anything with this vehicle, as I need to have a word with the customer and explain the job to him, what we need to do, how much it's going to cost, whether we get a second-hand engine or whether we rebuild this engine. But I think the route that we're going to go down is rebuilding this engine, and I'll probably do, well, I will do a video doing it, but it probably won't be for a couple of weeks because I've got that much stuff booked in now. Regarding what I've done, there's no harm in trying what I've done. You have to try it before you say, oh yeah, because I could have not done the belt, took the head off, and the valve's been perfect. But I've had to try it. We've had to put a belt on. So anyway, not the fairy tale ending that I was expecting, but nonetheless, I'll see. I think I've got a wet belt in tomorrow. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's as much as I'm going to do on this video now. But anyway, can we get a sense? Yeah, we're going to get a sense.